Today, we're diving into one of humanity's oldest stories, the Great Flood. But we're going to look at it in a way that might just surprise you. Because hidden deep inside the tale of Noah's Ark is this incredible paradox that completely flips the script on how we think about God.
You know, when you look at most flood stories, they seem to follow a similar blueprint, but there's a huge difference right at the core. In a ton of ancient myths, the setup is pretty clear. You've got a good God saving people from a bad, angry, or just mistaken God. But the biblical story, it presents this mind-bending paradox. The very same God who unleashes all the destruction is also the one who offers the only escape.
To really get just how radical this idea is, we kind of have to understand the world these stories came from. So let's kick things off with a classic flood myth, this one from ancient China.
Okay, so in the story of Noah, the flood isn't some grand, deliberate judgment. It's basically cosmic collateral damage. You've got the water god, Gong Gong, who loses a fight and, in a total fit of rage, smashes his head into a pillar holding up the heavens. The sky rips open, the world floods, and it's up to the creator goddess Nuwa to come in, clean up the mess, and save the very humans she made.
And this wasn't some one-off idea. This exact pattern, gods fighting, causing a disaster, and then a more sympathetic god having to step in and fix it, that's also at the very heart of way older stories from Sumeria and Akkadian, like the famous Epic of Gilgamesh. It's a theme you see again and again. So this pattern leads to a bigger question. What kind of world dreams up these stories of gods duking it out with each other? Well, the answer is all wrapped up in the polytheistic worldview.
See, in a polytheistic world, the gods are basically superpowered forces of nature. You've got your sun god, your sea god, your harvest god, and yeah, their powers are huge, but they're also limited. They can get in each other's way, and their big plans can get totally wrecked by some other god. They're all just characters in this huge divine drama playing out all around humanity. So if you're a human living in that world, survival is a strategic game. You're trying to calm down the angry gods, get on the good side of the nice ones, and just maybe play them against each other. The divine realm is just another complicated part of life that you have to figure out how to manage. But then you get to the biblical story of Noah, and it just shatters that entire framework. It's not a story about divine politics or some cosmic oopsie. It's about one God who, somehow, plays both parts at the exact same time.
So this is the crucial point, right here. There is no good God to swoop in and save Noah from a bad one. There's just God. And humanity needs to be saved from God's judgment by God's grace. The threat and the rescue, they come from the exact same place.
And the text is, brutally clear about this. God doesn't hedge his bets or pass the blame. He straight up says he's going to destroy both them and the earth. This is a deliberate, thought-out act of judgment, not some accident.
And yet, in what's maybe one of the most personal, quiet moments in the whole story, after Noah and his family and all the animals are safe on the ark, we get this one little line. The same God who is about to unleash this world-ending flood personally, with his own hand, secures the door. He isn't just the destroyer, he's also the protector.
Just think about that image for a second. It's like an airline steward making sure the cabin door is locked and secure before takeoff. It's a deliberate act of care, of safety. And with that one motion, God seals Noah off from the water, from the destruction, and in a very real way, from the consequences of his own judgment.
So how does this huge difference in the nature of God actually change the human experience? Let's take a look at the two very different choices that come out of these two worldviews.
So, in a monotheistic world, God isn't just a part of nature. Nature is a product of his will. He isn't just some character in history. He's the one directing history. His will is absolute. He is the one and only source of everything: creation, judgment, and salvation. This really leaves humanity with only two ways to go. There are no other gods to appeal to, no divine games you can play. You either rebel, basically declaring yourself your own god and making your own rules, which gets called sin, or you obey. You submit to his sovereignty and make his will your own, and that's called faith. So you can see this massive shift in perspective, right? In polytheism, the gods are a big deal, sure, but they're still just one factor among many that you have to deal with. But in monotheism, God is the central reality. He is the absolute principle that everything else revolves around.
So, what's the ultimate takeaway from all this? Why does this ancient distinction still matter so much to us today?
It all boils down to this. Judgment and salvation are two sides of the same coin. They both flow from the one true God. You can't really seek His grace while trying to dodge His justice. They are totally inseparable parts of who He is. To be saved from God, you can only be saved by God.
You know, the details of the story can change with the times. The floodwaters of Noah's day might be reimagined as the fiery judgment described later on. The ark made of wood might become the cross, but that underlying dynamic, that unchanging reality, is this paradox of the one God who is both judge and savior. And this leaves us right here, with the ultimate question. It's one that was posed thousands of years ago, but it is just as urgent today. If judgment is certain, and the only path to salvation is found in the very source of that judgment, then what kind of people ought we to be?